Ladies and gentlemen, Kirk Thatcher and Darren Doctorman, the Weirded Beardos.
That's my kid show opening. Oh, look who's here! Do they do that anymore? I guess there's no. Are there any hosted kid shows?
No, I think they're all animated.
I mean, Pee-wee was the last one, which was sort of a parody of a.
Yeah, but that wasn't a kid's show. That was
but it was a parody of a kid's show.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go. There's our name.
It's just us.
Hello, children. Hello.
Hello.
Darren and I would like to share some things with you today. Very interesting things that we hope you enjoy. It's the Creepy Uncle Show.
Wow. That's
there's money in those hills, buddy. I tell you. That's our $1 million idea.
Adults sometimes don't like us to talk.
Tell your parents to remember Soupy Sales said tell your parents to leave the room.
Right.
And he had them all mail him $1.
Right. Oh my
told
God.
him how to write it out, and he got a few $100.
He got a lot of money. More than he was making. So welcome, Quirk the Hatcher.
Quirk the Hatcher, exactly.
Prince of
Welcome, Darren. Oh, that was clever.
Yeah, I'm very clever.
Prince of Peanuts. That sounds like a character in Hans Conried voice.
It does.
Yes, I'm the Prince of Peanuts. How are you? Okay, so we just had Thanksgiving here in America.
Yes.
Not Canadian Thanksgiving. We had American Thanksgiving.
And for those of you listening early on Monday morning when this drops, we just recorded this yesterday. So we're
recording it now. We didn't record it yesterday. We're recording it now, Darren. What?
Join me in time to tomorrow morning when this will be listened to.
That's right.
Anyway.
It's from you in the future.
So yeah, we just finished Thanksgiving week and Thanksgiving Day, which was on Thursday.
Now you did not cook a meal. You went out for
I went out to the
famous.
Well, I don't know how famous it is, but Cafe 50s in Santa Monica.
Well, it was huge in the 80s. Like when there was in the 80s, we're having a 50s kind of glory day.
Yeah, resurgence.
Yeah, with Happy Days and Back to the Future and everything. The 50s, there were sock hops.
Right.
And Grease. Yeah. So
socks.
And hop socks. Yes. And there used to be another one in the valley. Like I guess it closed.
Yeah, there was one in Van Nuys in Sherman Oaks. On Van Nuys. Yeah, they're fun.
Diner,
yeah. They're fun and they're full of kitschy magazine stories that they put up on the wall and
now did they serve a Thanksgiving?
They did. They did. They had a special meal that they put together with all Thanksgiving trimmings and.
What is the difference between trimmings and fixings?
Well, you see, fixings are something that you do to the main course, and trimmings are stuff that go around the main course.
Interesting. Okay, so I'll buy that almost. I brought some trimmings. Didn't you bring fixings? Oh no.
No. I never bring fixings. I always bring trimmings.
Well, my meal doesn't need fixing. It's perfect the way it is. Well, I did. Every year I like to cook a turkey, even if I go to someone else's Thanksgiving, whether it's friends or family. I've been doing more Friendsgivings probably for the last 10, 12 years because I would do Thanksgiving with my mom, usually on the weekend with my family, my brother and his kids. But every year I would cook a turkey because I like turkey and I like turkey leftovers. So this year, being more attentive to my diet and being more low carb, I roasted a turkey. I brined it for 2 days, which was great. When I was carving it, just like liquid was just pouring out. Like it.
Were you brined for 2 days too?
I was brined for 2 days. I was more pickled. So I made a brine, soaked it for 2 days. Had to take like a drawer out of the fridge so I could fit it in there. It was a 16-pound turkey. I spatchcocked it, which is not dirty as it sounds. You feel like a coroner. You're there. I had to use garden shit.
It's like the predator making turkey. You remove its entire backbone,
its spine,
and then flip it over, and then just push it down, and it splits it. So
but it cooks a 16-pound a 16-pound turkey. 16-pound turkey. I wish I were a 16-pound turkey. Multiply that by 3. No, 100. So it cooks a 16-pound turkey. God damn it, I can't say it. Cooked in 2 hours, which is remarkably fast. Which is why I did it. So I brined it for 2 days, took it out, let it dry out in the oven overnight, basted it in dry out in the oven, dry in the fridge, and covered it with an herbed olive oil butter concoction.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then so it would dry out, so the skin would be crispy, and then put it in the oven at I think 450, because when it's spatchcocked, it won't burn it. By the time it's starting to crisp and burn the outside, it's cooked.
Right.
And it came out great. Actually, took a picture of it because it was like that perfect golden crispy. The skin was pretty crispy. I think if I didn't use convection. I think if I used convection, it might have been crispier or dry it out a little more. And then I made a root vegetable, roasted vegetables, and green beans. That was it. I didn't do stuffing or potatoes. The closest potatoes was I did yams and beets. Yams for the root vegetables, yams, beets, onions, and carrots. And it was great. Oh, and I made gravy. I always make giblet gravy. In fact, I buy extra giblets. To make gravy, which I probably took about 8 hours of cooking, about 6 on Wednesday, and maybe about 9 hours and 3 on Thursday. But it was all ready by noon. And it's the first time everything was ready. Now, again, I didn't have potatoes and peas and all that, but it was already right at 12 noon when we ate.
Wow.
Well, there's just 2 of us. It wasn't a big get together. Right. And then we we crashed for about 3 or 4 hours, and then had the pumpkin pie, because you're just like, but it was fun, and now I have Thanksgiving leftovers for at least a week.
Well, that's the great thing about cooking it at home, because then you have the leftovers.
Yeah. Have you ever done a Thanksgiving dinner?
By myself? No, I participated in many.
No, but you've never cooked for. I once did it for 20 people, and it's a lot.
No, that ain't me, babe.
The hard part is, I mean, everything's fairly simple. I mean, the turkey is just like, if you have a thermometer, then it's hard to screw it up. But the timing, getting everything ready to be served, at the appointed hour, that's always been, for me. I think 20 was the largest, but then I've done it for like 8 people, and then for Friendsgivings I would just bring something.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, as a bachelor uncle, you're usually expected, like, you can bring pie. I did make my own stuffing for years, but it was too fancy. People are like, "Can you just make stovetop?" Like, Americans.
I love stovetop stuffing. My God.
I know, but it's like crap. I mean, they put things in it to make you like it.
Yeah, tasty things.
Fentanyl. Yeah, I was doing fancy, like, herbed rice with this and that. A friend of mine made oyster stuffing, which always makes me nervous. I always use mushrooms, which I love. I love the mushrooms.
Right.
Because I'm a fun guy.
And you're a giant hobbit, is what
I look like I've got some weird filter on to make my skin look perfect and pink, because it is not.
Well, maybe your skin is perfect and pink.
Well, it looked like that
was a John Hughes movie, wasn't it?
Perfect. Isn't he perfect? I do look good in pink. It complements my coloring. So Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and Thanksgiving was great.
So like 4 friends, 6 friends. How many people? Or just you by yourself sitting at the diner?
No. I had one friend who I had Thanksgiving.
Nice.
It was.
I had one friend as well.
Yes.
She was delicious. I mean,
though I did invite you to come along with us.
You did. Sorry, I'd already made plans
previous plans, and that's fine, because you were already mid-brining, I think, at that point.
Yeah, I started brining on Monday, because I knew I was going to pull it on Wednesday.
Well, it was Brian Henson.
I tried to Brian Henson, but he wouldn't stay still. I just saw Brian at Pop It Up. I think we talked.
Pump it up.
Pop It Up. Yeah. So what about Christmas, the big holiday? You doing anything exciting for that? Because
No, I tend to keep a very low profile. My mom and brother live in another state, and I hate traveling.
Yeah.
Pardon?
You're not visiting them.
I'm not visiting them at Christmas.
I'm going up to Portland and Seattle the week before Christmas to see my pals up there, and I'm gonna be back I think on the 22nd, 23rd, or 22nd. Because I don't really have any big. I'll probably see my brother and his wife and my nephews, but I don't usually do a big. I mean, since my parents have passed and my cousins have all moved away, and it's fine because you don't have to buy presents for 20 people. Yeah, some people get sad about it. I'm not. I've like had enough Christmases for a lifetime where,
you've had enough.
I've had enough. There's been enough. Now, what is it? You believe in Santa Claus. You don't believe in Santa Claus. You are Santa Claus. Well, I've entered that phase of my life.
Do you believe in Santa? Yeah, either you believe in Santa Claus or you live long enough to become him.
Exactly. Well, we're in that stage, buddy.
We were there.
It's weird. In photographs, my beard looks like bright white, like Santa Claus white. And it does have some color in it, but man, in pictures, it's like, oh, yep, Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All over your face. Yeah, so same here. No big exciting. I usually buy myself a Christmas present every year. Like, this is my present to me for not dying. And usually try and spoil somebody, but I've been doing a lot of charitable acts this year. So I think I've been doling out my Christmas gifts to friends and those in need.
You consider this podcast a charitable act?
Absolutely, as a gift to the world. I didn't say it was a good gift, but it is my gift to you. It's free of charge.
All free today.
All right. So we're not doing anything. Well, I'm going to Portland and Seattle.
And I'm staying in town. Although this coming weekend, the weekend of the 5th to the 8th of December, I'm going to be with the Trexperts, and we're going to be at GalaxyCon in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh man, I want to go to GalaxyCon in Columbus, Ohio.
Well, you can. Come on.
Nobody invited me. I'm not paying for it.
Oh.
Maybe after I've met another Marvel movie, they'll fly me out.
No.
I think I did one GalaxyCon a while ago.
Really?
Are they the one that's who does the Trek Con? No, that's not Galaxy.
No, that's
that's
Creation.
Creation. I think I did a GalaxyCon in Kentucky, in Louisville once. I don't know. I don't do enough cons to know, like, oh, there's Galaxy and Creation and
right,
and Wonder Man and
Wonderman.
And Wonderman, Mr. Spiderman. Hello, Mr. Spiderman.
You know the Spidermans, Ted and Elaine.
I thought it was Peter and MJ, the Spidermans. Speaking of Spider-Man. Speaking of Spider-Man, this is a terrible segue. Any good movies that you've seen?
I haven't, although I did start my holiday viewing tradition, as we talked about a couple podcasts ago. And I started it with Miracle on 34th Street.
Oh, not Santa-themed porn like you told me privately.
Well, if I had, I would have accidentally seen your face in one of them.
That's right.
Can't help
it. Great. I just didn't make any money. It's just
like that meme of Captain Kirk going. That's my reaction.
Okay, I saw Abigail.
Is that about the doll?
She saw me right. No, that's what I thought too. No, it's about a little girl, a ballerina, who's kidnapped, and I don't want to spoil it. Although if you read any of the reviews, it kind of is a giveaway. But it's well done. I figured out the plot twist about 10 minutes in. But it's fun. It's good, great cast.
Yeah.
And this little girl is amazing. She's got to be under 12. She might be small for a 12-year-old, but her acting is phenomenal. So it was recommended to me, and now I'm recommending it to all of you. If you haven't seen Abigail and you like kind of a fun horror movie it's not full of scares, it's not a jump scare thing, but it's more like Agatha Christie kind of idea.
I see.
But with creepy monsters in it, or a monster in it.
I thought it was a scary doll made in the image of the wife of Martin Van Buren.
That's a deep cut. For all your history buffs.
Abigail Van Buren was the lady.
Strange Darlings, is that the one that's been recommended to me?
I don't know.
There's been a lot of good recommendations from people. Oh, and people are really enjoying Wicked. If you like musicals, even the critical drinker who hates everything. I just watched an interview. He's a Scotsman, and he's like, I don't know why I'm reviewing this movie, but I will say it's not bad. And if you like musicals, and I said, the acting's great, and Ariana Grande did a great job, and okay. So I'm like, well, if he likes it, because I do like music. The art direction looks great. They obviously spent the money on the sets, and that looks cool. Jeff Goldblum's always fun. So I think I might watch that for a holiday treat.
Well, that's good, and it's always fun going to the movies.
But there's not any giant. Is that the biggest holiday movie coming out? Used to be there's like Lord of the Rings or a Harry Potter or a big.
Well, you see, they used to make movies. Yeah, they do very little anymore.
Well, they make sequels. In fact, or either sequels or something based on a previously successful IP.
Yeah.
Well, there was something I just read about. I'm like, no, seriously, they made that into a movie? What was it? It's something that's coming out. It's like, well, they've been trying to do Candyland for years.
Right.
It's just, it is Hollywood. Hollywood's been bankrupt, I think, since about the mid 2000s.
I can't wait to see The Rock in Chutes and Ladders.
There you go. Oh, that's getting panned. Speaking of The Rock, Red One, the Santa, the Santa,
right? The Santa
by Krampus.
Right.
It looked like a fun idea, but they just threw money and dumb at it. Here, more dumb. And then there's also Santa, which is Jack Black as Satan.
Right.
Because the kid misspelled, and I thought it was a fun idea. I think it's the Farrellys did it, or the Zuckers, one of those. That I'll probably see, in 3 weeks when it's on HBO, and you can rent it for $6. I don't know. It just, also we're aging out of giving a fuck. A crap. A care about movies. I think once you hit, I don't know. I still go see the Marvel movies and the epic, if something like, and I kind of gave up on Star Wars movies, but.
So did they.
Yeah, well, I don't think they make them anymore, do they? Are there any Star Wars movies? It's all TV now.
No more Star Wars.
No.
I did, however,
yeah.
Thanks to the kindness of my friend Van and Casey, they took me to see the Back to the Future musical.
Yes.
At the Pantages Theater in LA.
And how did you find it?
Just GPS. It was right at the theater.
Marvelous.
Look, it was. It's well produced.
Yes.
It's nice to see the presentation on stage. The actors are all doing their best.
Do they try and do a Chris Lloyd, Michael J. Fox impression?
Kind of.
Oh, is he kind of a bombastic?
It's the actor playing Doc Brown is fine. He doesn't quite have the presence that Chris Lloyd does.
Is it a known actor? Was it someone
not that I'd ever heard of. I'm sure in the live theater they're big names. Marty was pretty good.
Do they fly the DeLorean? I know that was a thing
they do a little bit near the end, because that's the only point where the DeLorean flies.
Right.
If you've ever seen, have you seen the film?
Yes, the Return to the Past. I'm Back on the Future.
It's
I know what people sound like. Oh, the DeLorean flies. All right.
It does. It does, and it's great that the stagecraft is well done, and they integrate the live performances with projections and all sorts of gimmicks, and it works very nicely.
Okay.
The problem is, I can't remember any of the songs, and it's not because of me. It's because all the songs are very generic.
You have, like I do. I hear a song once and I can remember half of it, at
Yeah,
least the chorus.
of course.
Yeah, I've
If it's good,
yeah. It's well, that's too bad.
it's very too bad because I think that I don't know. It seems that it was done quickly.
Well, I'm sure the amount of money they had to pay for the rights to all that
Well, I
probably.
mean, it was co-produced by Bob Gale, who owns the rights.
Oh,
So I don't know. I really have no idea. But
it's not going to run for 12 years.
no. Apparently, it was a huge hit on the West End in London,
Right.
and that's what
Interesting.
made it have productions here.
Marty, we've got to get back to the future.
Sure, yeah.
Look.
We gotta get back in time.
I want to make Doc Brown Scottish.
Back in time. Back in time.
I want to make Doc Brown. Doc Brown, Marty, we've got to get back to the future. Island, get my DeLorean. I would have paid for that. The Scottish version of Back to the Future.
Wow.
Hey, Back to the Future. Well,
What
there you go.
thing?
Wonder if it never cease. I saw the Beetlejuice musical. Was that last year? That was fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I grew up on the classics.
Of course.
But it's Avenue Q. Speaking of songs that are memorable, had great songs.
Yeah.
It's a really fun. It's a very fun show. It's like a parody of Sesame Street for adults.
Yeah.
But the songs are just catchy, and you walk out humming at least a couple of them. Yeah, it's a tough trick. I have friends who are songwriters who write. That's what they do for a living. They're a lyricist and a musician, and it's a tough nut to crack.
Indeed. But
I worked with a guy named Desmond Childs on a Muppet movie I did, Very Merry Muppet Christmas, and he wrote the big song for the end of the movie called Everyone Matters, which was charming. But you look at this guy, and it was charming and mildly memorable. And I'm not throwing shade at it. It was just sort of a nice, sweet song. But you look at his laundry list of hit songs. He wrote a ton of Aerosmith hits for their comeback, like "Dude Looks Like a Lady," "Love in an Elevator." He wrote "Who Let the Dogs Out." All these incredibly catchy, poppy, and he's like a hit machine. When they hired him, he sent me a 4 CD set of his songs performed by the people who made them, rocketed to number one, or at least the top 3. And it was shocking. It was like working with Barry and Cynthia Mann and Weil on Muppet Treasure Island. Like the amount of hits they had written before 1980 was just like, geez. Yeah, so there's a knack people have or do not. And I guess Mr. Back to the Future, not.
Well, pardon me. Yeah, I'm still recovering from Thanksgiving week.
Tryptophan, it's a bitch.
Look, the staging was clever. The performances were good, and it just
How was the lighting?
It was brilliant.
It was illuminating.
The best lighting I've seen all week.
What if lighting designers go to plays going, boy, the music was great, the cast,
but great. Oh my God, the lighting!
Oh, the shadows everywhere. Just broad, flat lighting. There was no character.
But the stagecraft was great. They had sliding in set pieces and backgrounds that changed, and that was very well done. I love that.
Does the DeLorean fly over the audience or just lift off stage?
It doesn't fly over the audience. It lifts up on the stage.
Because I remember in Wicked, they do fly the witch over the audience a bit. At least
I was expecting something like that to fly over at least a portion of the audience, but no.
Insurance.
No dice.
Well, that's a hell of a rig and the weight, and I assume the actors are in it unless they do
Yeah.
a quick.
I mean, after all those things that happened with Spider-Man, they're not gonna do that.
King Kong. It's funny actually. You think about it, like all these musicals made from pop culture things, which I don't know. I guess it's back to money. It's like you got to get producers, and they'll go, well, kids know that. I'll pay for it. I'll invest in that.
Yeah.
I mean, Spamalot was great.
Spamalot is brilliant. Yeah.
Right. And I love Monty Python, so there's a reason, built an audience. But if you did, I was going to say there's Camelot, but if you did a medieval, I wonder if somebody did a D&D musical. It's not based on, and you called it Dungeons and Dragons, the musical.
Right.
You might, because it's kind of open-ended, and that could be fun.
Well, I mean, they kind of, if you remember at Universal Studios, they used to have a Conan stage show.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what you would get with that, but plus badly written songs.
Well, if you got the rights to the name Dungeons and Dragons, you could just have, Quest to the musical. In fact,
you can have the audience roll the dice.
There you go. Oh, that would be great. Actually, that's
that would be a nightmare.
But then everyone would have to. Yeah. Well, what actually is there? So you would give out like a raffle ticket at the beginning of the play.
Yeah.
And whoever got whatever the magic number was, there was like 5 man. Okay, number 317. Come to the microphone and say, so that cast would just freeze. Roll the dice. And that would actually, I think you could make money with that, because there's enough D&D fans, and it's enough built into the audience, and even if you've never played, you get the idea of create. I mean, that's pretty good, pretty good idea.
Well, the thing you do,
copyrighter. We now have.
Here's the thing you do.
Here's the thing.
You have the audience member press a button that does a random generator of dice that is protected, but it is completely fake. It is completely preordained.
No,
you get
because then after three showings, people go, it's bullshit. It's the same thing every time. You have to have at least 3.
But by then you got all their money.
Wow. No, you'd have to have at least, I would say, 5 variations.
Oh my God. Do you know how maddening that would be to try and stage?
Yeah. If you want to make money, you gotta wow, you gotta razzle dazzle, Darren. You can't just be like, oh, a Kelver song and a werewolf came out. No, you gotta razzle dazzle with like, oh, audience participation. Kill it. I swear to God, you can make a lot of money on this.
Yeah, just like Francis Coppola.
We'll call it.
There's a portion in Megalopolis where it is a audience participation thing.
No.
Yes.
Jesus. All right. Well, but that's fake. This is real audience participation.
But this is real.
This is real. Get a little stage magic. Get a couple good, kind of pull from Shrek. Get a couple good ogre costumes. Magic. Yeah. Some stagecraft. I think you could. I know the guys who wrote. I'm friend with one of the guys who wrote Avenue Q. Get him to write the songs. I'm telling you, buddy. We now have proof that we came up with it on this date.
Well, we could do the sequel, Avenue R.
It's pirates and it's Avenue R.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. See,
there are no avenues on the deep blue sea.
That is the byline. There are no avenues on the 7 seas.
We'd love Avenue on board.
French. Exactly. I was going to say. Avenue R.
Yeah.
There you go. Although they've done pirate musicals. It's a riff on Pirates of Penzance. Boy, will that sell. Kids today, they would
Kids love Gilbert and Sullivan.
Oh my gosh. They do. Pirates of No Pants. That would sell. A pantsless, first bottomless musical. Although O Calcutta had complete nudity. Was there ever a fully nude musical?
I don't know.
I know people got nude. Was it Godspell?
Yeah.
And I saw O Calcutta. I moved to New York and I wanted to see some plays. And I heard about O Calcutta. And it played for like 22 years or something.
Yeah, it was
yeah.
amazing.
just because people got naked, and so just the end of the play, everyone's nude, like doing a song, and you're like, I don't want to see this. And then I read that Bill Macy, not William H. Macy, but Bill Macy, the husband on Maude, was in the original cast. I'm like, oh, that would.
Wow, that's something I don't.
That's like, yeah, bleach my eyes. But obviously he was like 24 years old, not the husband on Maude. But what was funny about it was so dated. Like the comedy bits were vaudeville. It was kind of a vaudeville burlesque thing with R-rated or X-rated jokes. I could see why it was titillating, pun intended, for up through about I think I saw it was like 82, 84. I think it ended its run. But
I might have mentioned this before. The only quote Broadway show I've ever seen was when we lived in New Jersey, and our school went to a field trip to New York to see the Magic Show in 75.
I don't know what it was, just called the Magic Show.
It was a show called the Magic Show, and it was originally with Doug Henning on Broadway. It was produced by Ivan Reitman.
All right. He's Canadian. So
it had started in Toronto, and they brought it down to Broadway. And we didn't get to see Doug Henning in it. We got to see his
stunt double.
Basically, his
Henry Henning.
What do they call that? Not a stand-in. It's a
understudy.
Understudy. Thank you.
Because you studied underwear to see if.
No. That's the underwear study.
And the Goofus and Gallant show begins.
Which also is the title of a not successful stage play, The Underwear Study.
Although, did we talk about this? Naked Came the Stranger? Did I bring that up last time? So what would be the run it by the marketing people? The underwear study might actually do all right.
It's kind of like like The Dresser,
yes,
but different.
But with ladies' lingerie. Oh, what was the play that just? Tammy Faye. That was what I was. The Tammy Faye the musical.
Oh,
open. I think in 3 weeks in Broadway and closed.
Wow.
Because I guess there was a documentary about her, which, I mean, hey, look, it's a train wreck of a person. I'm sure she had personal tragedies, and I don't mean to be insensitive, but a musical about a secondary footnote of a character?
Well, you got to take opportunities where they lay, and this was an opportunity for someone with name recognition that they could get the Broadway crowds in.
I have a friend.
They all went for the first week and then didn't come again.
Frank Dietz? He does an amazing Jack Lemmon. He kind of looks like him. He's the same physical type. And I said, I also want to do a fake trailer for Life Gives You Lemons, or When Life Gives You Lemon, and it's the Jack Lemmon, bio play. I don't know what you call it.
A one man show. Life Gives You Lemon.
When Life Gives You Lemon, and he's like, when I met Walter Matthau, I just think at least do the parody commercial for it, just on stage, black stage, a stool and him wearing, like changing to like Felix, and then doing the apartment.
That's funny.
Well,
and then of course,
True.
Robert
Morse, his one man show about Truman Capote. Truman Capote, but I don't think you could get a revival of that now. People are like, who the hell is Truman Capote?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we're getting to the point where people are saying, what the hell's Back to the Future? So
yeah. There are YouTube videos of showing kids in their 20s like, this is Led Zeppelin. Right. This is, and I'm shocked that they've never heard, it's some kid who grew up on rap music and they play, the Dire Maker or the what is it, the Immigrant Song, and they're like, this is amazing. Like, really? I think, part of it is information now is a fire hose. Yeah. And if you wanted to listen to new music, there's stuff daily from people you've never heard of. So unless you want to dig deep or talk to your parents.
That's the problem with the fragmentation of entertainment.
Right.
Is that it is so individually oriented. that there is no general culture anymore.
Well, and that was what marketed as a plus, because I remember they're saying it's what did they call it? Well, exactly. There was a clever name for essentially, vertical
Vertical integration.
entertainment. Yeah. So if you like Star Trek, all you're going to get is Star Trek or science fiction, and or if you like rap, all you're going to hear is rap, and all you're going to be fed is rap. And there's enough of it going around that you'll never have to listen to another kind of music. But when we were growing up, back in my day, even like Hear Music, which was sort of the crossover, but there were record stores, and you could just flip through and see something, and they would play albums, and you could say, what is that? What is that? And there was, and headphones. Hear Music kind of brought back what my mom grew up with, where you go and you could listen to any album in a little listening booth,
right,
and see if you liked it before you bought it. And then that went away because of, I guess, radio, and then it came back with Hear Music, which was amazing. I bought a bunch of CDs just because I went, oh, and it was like, if you like this, you might like this. And now I don't know. I guess you have to be curious enough to dig through the history of music.
I don't have time for that.
I'm busy doing this.
We don't have time for all that crap.
Speaking of crap, that was an interesting podcaster. He's British and he's lived in the States for a number of years. And he was saying the name of the name of the episode was something about Across the Pond is the title of the show. Yeah. But he said something about like the title was Has America Gone Bonkers? And it was literally dropped 2 days ago. And he's talked about living here and how America is a land of extremes, extreme weather, extreme political opinions, extreme ideology, extreme animals. And his thing was, is that why it just pushes everything to 11? Just there is no, because he's saying in England, the coldest, he said he was in Chicago and it got down to like minus 50. And he said the coldest it was ever in England was like minus 50. Couldn't have been Celsius. Maybe it was Celsius. He said it was like minus 30 or something. And that's all of, he said Britain. So I'm assuming he included Scotland in that. And he said the hottest temperatures are in the US, not the coldest, but Death Valley always wins every year. Like 100.
Yeah, but no one's there.
No, but he's just saying 330 million people in a country of extremes. Of course, it's going to be more diverse than however many million people England has, with much milder weather and both ends, and animals that can't kill you. It was an interesting theory of like why things are more polarized here. I mean, there's lots of theories of why politically we're polarized, but even culturally we're polarized. Whereas most other countries, have been around long enough and don't have as many immigrants, so it's a much more homogeneous culture. I mean, particularly island cultures like England, Japan, Australia, pretty much is about the closest, maybe Canada. But even Canada it seems to be more, well, not in the West Coast. There's a huge influx of Asian influence from China and Hong Kong. And I know they've been dealing with that kind of like, and they've just kind of taken over parts of Vancouver, where the locals call it Honcouver. And it's not racism. It's just like, all the signs are in Chinese, and like if you don't speak Chinese, like you can't eat at the restaurant unless you just point. I mean, so it's not a melting pot. It's just like they kind of move in and take over a neighborhood. So I don't know. Interesting times. I guess it's always interesting times.
It's always interesting times. We just learn more of it because of how information is.
How information is.
That's right.
I remember there was a book written in the late 80s, early 90s, and it was all about the coming internet revolution. It was called Information Anxiety by Richard Saul Wernick, I believe it was, or Werner. And it was all about where we are now, where there's so much information and there is no general, like news is all narrowcasting. That's what they call it, narrowcasting.
Right.
You get news tailored to you. So there's no more water cooler talk except like, did you see this movie? Even television now, there's no must-see TV because there's 7 billion channels or YouTube things to watch and all the streaming. And in some ways, as an individual, it's, cozier because you kind of get more of what you like, but it's hard to find,
Yeah, but the problem with getting only things that you like means that you can't
yeah, get a
open
narrow, yeah.
your preferences at all.
Remember in school, a teacher was like, broaden your horizons, read books you don't think you'd be interested in, in the
Well,
back.
which is all of them for me.
You're not interested in any books?
I
Well,
didn't used to be. Let's put it that way.
I love nonfiction. I just would devour the nonfiction section about everything from gardening to cooking to art. I mean, it started with art and sculpture and all that, but then what I found hard was to read outside of my pleasure zone for reading material. Like I like science fiction and fantasy, but in high school we had to read, and in college to some degree, the 2 years I went, you had to read stuff you weren't particularly. I wasn't going to go seek out Charles
Right.
Dickens. I mean, I knew, all right, I should probably read it. James Joyce, Catcher in the Rye, Shakespeare. I mean, Shakespeare was interesting, and things that are such cultural. I don't know. What's that?
Touchstones.
Touchstones, yeah, or pillars, literally, of Western culture or English speaking culture. Which it does. So at least you're educated when people make a Shakespeare joke or talk about, a Dickensian character. But I don't think that. I guess high school they still ask kids to read Shakespeare and some.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I remember I got to be in the AP English advanced placement, and we read Shakespeare plays live in class,
Like kind of performing them, if you could.
Well, more or less. I mean, it was terrible, but
Yeah.
but we also listened to recordings of them, and that was good. And because you really have to hear it or have it performed.
Yes.
To mean
Well,
to have
to
any
develop
connection.
to develop an ear, so when you do read it, it's not just like,
Right. Yeah, because it's a bastard to read.
It is, again, until you kind of get the rhythms.
Until you know how to do it. Yeah.
But also, there's some really dull Shakespeare plays, like A Winter's Tale, which is the one I saw in England, which I looked up the year it was performed, and it was Ian McKellen. We went and I saw Ian McKellen in A Winter's Tale, and I was bored out of my mind. But I remember the acting was good, and it made you understood what was happening because of the inference with the reading. But I was like, I thought Shakespeare was funny or dramatic, and this was just sort of like, yeah, I can't even tell you what it was about. It literally lost me. And that, was a siren in your neighborhood?
There's always a siren in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I wish
a lot of people don't know that Darren lives in the bad part of Santa Clarita, where all the bad kids are. Yeah, it's interesting as a culture. Like in France, they're very, very, they actually have a Ministry of Culture, and they're very protective of French culture, and they eschew and deny cultural influences from their immigrants.
Well, I eschew you.
I say screw you. Hey, that's catchy. See, now that's good songwriting right there. It's memorable.
It is actually.
They even have a list of approved names. If you want your kid to be a French citizen, you must choose from this list of approved French names that are French names.
Like 4 of them.
No, there's a few thousand, but it can't be Muhammad or Xing Xing or Glob or whatever you want to do. And I'm like, geez, that's like it's cultural fascism.
Yeah.
But the French are very protective of French culture, where America would be hypocritical to be. I mean, I think that's part of the culture wars. People think there's an American culture and it's white Christians, and it's like, no, that's who started here. But American natives were here first, and we have some of their culture that's blended in, like Thanksgiving in particular. But we don't have a Ministry of Culture, so. And that was the idea of the melting pot, is it becomes this big gooey mess of everything, with Chinese food and Thai food and all that, and but it's always, I guess, going to be a little bit strained, because especially with immigration, once people are here 2 or 3 generations, they're like, we're Americans, we're not We're not Irish. We're not German. We're not Mexican. We're Americans. They might say we're Mexican American or Irish American, but they tend to pick and choose what they remember from the old culture and what they want to, adopt from the new culture.
Yeah.
It's like my Jewish friends that, that celebrated, they had a Christmas tree, which they called a Hanukkah bush, and then just gave up and said it's a Christmas tree. But they decorated with blue and silver.
Well, maybe you should stop thinking of them as your Jewish friends and just think of them as friends. There was a PSA. There was a PSA on in New York in the 70s where this kid is talking with his grandfather.
Right.
And I forget what the problem was, but they're like fishing in a boat, right? And the kid was saying, "Well, Jimmy's one of my Jewish friends," and the grandfather says, "Well, maybe you should stop thinking of him as a Jewish friend and think just of him as your friend,
as a Jew."
Oh my God!
Brought to you by the Aryan Brotherhood. No, I only brought it up because of the culture of Hanukkah.
Yeah. No, I understand.
I'm not a racist. I know plenty of Jews.
I didn't say you.
I'll eat with them. I'll even talk to them.
It's interesting we were talking about Shakespeare before, because one of my favorite sort of Shakespeare adjacent plays and later films is Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead.
Yes.
Which is basically Back to the Future for Hamlet. It's Back to the Future 2 for Hamlet, because you have characters that are going in and out of this story that is progressing along, and we get them at various points when they aren't attached to the story. But anyway, reason
Noise is off. It's Noise is Off where you get
kind of yeah. I love Noise is Off.
Oh, it's brilliant.
But the reason I thought of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead is that one of the stars in London of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern was Anthony Daniels.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, exactly. And the Christmas present that I got for myself this year is Bring Me the Head of Anthony Daniels.
Wow!
This is available at Disneyland in the Star Wars.
Can you buy it online or no? It's just
you can't get it online. Wow. I mean, unless you go to eBay and pay $100 extra.
Right. That's amazing.
It's amazing. But you're looking at it. I mean, it is normally this shiny all over.
Like polished gold.
It is pristine. It is, the end ceremony in Star Wars. But I've been going through a process that I learned on YouTube of dirtying it down and making it look like it did in.
It looks amazing. Like it looks like he'd been on Tatooine for a few weeks.
Exactly.
Now, does it light up or do anything?
It does. I can't plug it in because I don't have the right cord here. But the eyes light up, and when you touch his forehead, he says one of a bunch of phrases.
Wow!
But it's amazing. It's exactly correct. I have a pull from a casting of 3PO's head, and it is exactly the right size.
I want to get it and take out the grill and put in human eyeballs.
Oh my God!
like a horror movie where it's like
that'd be really creepio.
It would be. It'd be creepio. There you go. See creepio because
it goes along with this amazing 1/6 scale figure that I have here.
I have that from Sideshow or
no, this is all metal. This is from Japan.
Oh,
it's
called
what is it called? Perfect Figure. So I'm in the process of dirtying this down as well, and I'm gonna try and paint all the oil marks and all the leaks. And everything.
That is cast metal. That's amazing.
This is all metal. Yeah.
Yeah, I have the Sideshow like 1/6 figure. It's the same size, but
right.
Yeah.
But, let me get this to
I was kidding. I have a 3PO and an R2 and a Han Solo, all from A New Hope. And I got the Jabba. And I was like,
I know he can get the Jabba, but can he do the Jabba? But
Oh, that's amazing.
his eyes light up and everything.
Now you need to do a stop motion movie with him walking across a little desert scene, going, "I'm not going that way." We're not nerds.
We?
Do you have nephews or nieces? Who's going to inherit all this crap?
All this crap is going to go to the Four Winds.
The Four Winds. I met them.
Yeah.
But I didn't know they were collectors.
Yeah, Hugo Fourwind. And,
yes. I want to do. Okay, here's an idea I had because I always come up with idea for band names that are puns. It was Night's Oil, Night's Oil, but Night's Oil, the word like evening, nighttime, apostrophe S oil, because night soil is a term for shit. Fertilizer.
I've never heard that term before.
Oh, it's what they called human feces used as fertilizer with night soil because they didn't.
I see.
Yeah,
they would spread it at night so that it wouldn't.
Yep. But they use it the Japanese. Where I think I learned about it, learning about Japanese culture when I was a kid, that they would use it to fertilize their crops.
It was the least popular episode of Shogun.
Night soil for delicious vegetables. Yeah. But I want to name a band Night's Oil, a night apostrophe S oil.
Right.
And then the first song was, Fertile Lies. Lies that are fertile. Yeah, just have every song title be some kind of fecal related pun. Oh, the other one was Fees Cease. Yep. This is what my brain does when I'm bored. But then I never do it. And I'm like, I would have probably 20 parody albums out at this point but then the fun part would be writing the songs that go with that. I might mock up the album cover for.
Why don't you make it so the fun part is listening to the songs?
Well, yeah, and the fun part's making. I can't say if people are gonna have fun listening to my music. I Hate You's done very well for what it is.
Well, you could make it. Sort of more Amerikaner and say I hate yous.
I hate yous. Yous guys. I Hate You was put in the top 3 best fake punk songs. Some consider it number 1. Others there's another couple. But the song written for a movie, they say it's one thing said it was the best, most accurate version of punk music. And I very proudly shout that from the highest rooftops.
Wow.
The authentic. I'm an authentic punk.
I'd like to hear the other ones though.
My Baby's Got Rabies. Oh, the other songs. They weren't necessarily punk. I think they were rock songs. They were done for movies. Like the only one I remember was Scotty Doesn't Know from I think it was European Vacation or something. It was about
Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
We're Star Trek. That's funny. Well, that goes on the board.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
Scotty does not know. Oh bye. When are they going to do a George Takei de-aging and get George?
Well, he hasn't aged.
Well, his voice hasn't, but
he moves slowly now, but he hasn't aged.
So when are they going to do the Otoy? Because I don't know who could do. Well, a lot of people could do Scotty and do Jimmy Doohan, but George, they should get George. They'd be like, Captain, I'm the captain of the Excelsior. Just, I don't know. I watched a little documentary a little interview with Sam Witwer. I thought they were going to show the process, but they just showed a couple stills.
No, they're keeping that hidden.
Ah, okay. Because I was like, well, because it's like Sam Witwer talks, and there's like one behind the scenes picture of him in a makeup chair, but he just looks like Shatner, and you're like, okay.
Yeah. Well, what you don't realize is that's shot off of a screen.
Right. That's what you were saying. So it is an automatic replacement.
Yeah.
But they don't use tracking markers.
No.
That's amazing.
It is. It's true.
You would think. I mean, although look, I mean, on your iPhone now, you can get things that put digital makeup. It's not hyper realistic.
But move your head fast, and it swings across the room.
Yeah. Well, they're getting better. I guess it's not. Yeah, it's on your iPhone for. Is it WhatsApp or something where it does it? I don't know. TikTok. I don't know. Kids today.
I don't know. I don't fake my appearance on the phone.
I mean, when you look like this, why would you? You realize when my eyes are wide open, they look like this. And when I smile, they disappear. They become lines. But this is me. I mean, unless I do this.
Oh, God, don't do that.
The Rudy Giuliani meme. Boy, that guy. How do you pay $143 million? And they were saying he's selling his watch collection and his 1980 Cadillac owned by Marilyn Monroe or something. Like, dude, that ain't going to get you $143 million.
I don't know. I don't know. How do you pay? How do you get $20 million behind in a campaign fund? I don't know.
Who got $20 million behind?
Kamala.
After $1 billion, she owes.
Yes.
That's I heard that they spent the $1 billion. You're like, oh, I remember what I was hearing. It was they're blaming the marketing teams they hired.
Yeah.
And now the story is that the marketing teams actually were not necessarily under an umbrella, but very closely related to Republican concerns. So they're like, yeah, we'll take your money. Yeah. Run on this. I don't know. I
don't know.
We will never know. There's always going to be armchair quarterbacking and 2020 hindsight. But
tonight on 2020 hindsight,
what we should have done in World War I. Yeah.
But it's fine.
I run out of stuff to talk about. Oh, the weather.
The what? No.
The weather outside is pleasant. I am not a peasant. And since we got one more podcast to do, come on. I was waiting for you to jump in.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
All right. Well,
that's all we have for this one.
Yeah, sorry. Take it up with your finance people. Oh, wait, it's free.
It's free. Yeah, it's free. What do you want?
How much longer do you think? Well, YouTube isn't free all the time. If you want to know commercials, I pay like $100 a year, which I think is worth it because I
think it's worth it too because I watch YouTube all the time. And I
don't watch TV anymore. I watch YouTube.
My money's worth.
What do the kids today watch? Let's find out. Our next episode.
Yeah, the kids today.
What's the matter with them?
We'll talk about that the next podcast because I saw that for the first time recently.
A play or the movie?
The movie. So we'll talk about that.
Right.
Yet more heterosexual musical discussion here on the Weirded Beardos. You keep doing that. Don't do that.
I only did the first 2 seconds. Do. You can do that without reproach, beyond reproach. Now, if I went,
I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just I don't think they think it's funny.
How are you doing that? How are you making the music go away when I'm singing a perfect rendition of? Wait, listen to this one. Do.
Times Square. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
Bye. Thanks for doing whatever you did while you listened to us.
Thanks for being you.
The Weirded Beardos are Kirk Thatcher and Darren Doctorman. Email them at theweirdedbeardos@gmail.com.